disruption, it's important that disruption happens because and it happens through overcoming fear, overcoming the fear of failure. When you decide, I'm not going to be afraid. Now, that's a decision, but that decision has a lot of components to it. Number one, if you are an organization, if you're building, if you're building a company, if you're building an organization, you want to make sure you build it with an environment where failure is accepted and celebrated. Like I said, Guy Kawasaki, who was the chief evangelist of Microsoft, he said that the key way to do it, I'll read it exactly. He says, the biggest fear is failure. In order to create a true revolution, you must create an environment where failure is forgiven, even celebrated. Where failure is forgiven, even celebrated. So that means you have to have a very forgiving environment where it says, you know what, listen, you may fail, but we're going to find a way to fix it. We're going to coach you through it. We're going to help you. And what we need to understand is that we only fail and we only feel like we're failing when it's the real thing, when it's the game, and when someone is watching. In this environment, it's really interesting because in this environment, if you do something that is like excellent, better than most people can do it, there'll be a meme about you, even if you do well. It's like, I didn't see the Super Bowl, the event, but I'm telling you, there were so many memes that came out between, after the Super Bowl, of the game and of the players and of the, the coach loving on the quarterback and on the moon 5 and maybe there's moon 4. I mean, there are so many memes because people we're creating in this environment, we're creating this environment where any sense of failure is going to be mocked. And you have to understand that you have to be okay with someone mocking you, even if it's not true, even if they're just making fun and they're doing something, because we're creating an environment. I want to encourage you, if you're a business owner, if you are a leader, I want to encourage you, don't create an environment where there's mockery and memes being passed around in your organization about people's failures. You want to create a place where people can fail, where people can try, where people can experiment, where people can do things. And if they think that at all they're going to be mocked, they're not going to do it. If they think at all there's going to be a company or an inner office meme, it's going to just be so destructive, and no one's going to be creative. No one's going to step out and do creative things. We have to stop this. I'm just getting a little bandwagon here. We have to stop this mocking and this laughing and this joking about people's talents and gifts and skills. It's just going to create an environment in the future. I don't know what we're going to get. And so I want to have the best on my team. And I want to have the people who want to be the best. And John Maxwell says it this way: if you can't get the people that are the best, get the people who can be the best. And if you can't get the people who are the best and you're getting the people who can be the best, they can be the best in the world. That means you're going to have a lot of trial and error, a lot of failure, a lot of successes, but a lot of failures. And a lot of times when they don't do it right, and you have to be okay with going, let me coach you, let me train you, let me teach you, let me develop you. The only way a person can really be in a place, an environment, you can create an environment where people feel like they will not fail, or where they'll fail, but they will not be mocked about their failure, and they will not be outcast because they failed. The only way you can really, really have that is if you have a coaching environment. An environment where people are being coached. When you go to the practice field, you never ever think, this is going to be embarrassing. Do you know what a coach wants? And you know what I want as a coach? As I'm coaching people, you know what I want? I want to see their failures. I don't want to see their successes. I know if they're successful there, they already know they're successful there. They already have that. They already have that in mind. It's already locked in. And they're good at it. What I want to do is I want to take them to the next level, and they have scotomas. They have areas in the blind spots in their lives that they can't see that's creating failure. So I want them to fail in front of me, not because I can mock them, but so I can coach them, so I can build them, so I can encourage them. Every coach wants you to fail in front of them. No coach wants you to pretend like you're succeeding in front of them. And that's the key. If you have an environment in your organization that is mocking, or an environment where people feel like they're afraid to fail, that means you don't have a coaching environment. It means you have a critical environment. You have an environment where you're talking and you're mocking and you're gossiping. Get rid of all that stuff in your business. Get to the coaching element. Get to the place. And I want you to understand that we're raising up a new generation. And you have to understand that we have people that are coming to work with us, and especially if you're hiring millennials or Zs, you're having, well, probably not Z, but you're having some people who are coming to work with you that literally have not been trained. They are being raised by latchkey kids, and latchkey kids were kids that were left on their own and put a key around their neck. They go home, they open the house themselves. There's no one at home for them because both parents are working. They now grew up, became parents, and they don't know how to raise their kids. So we have millennials that are raising themselves, and it's interesting because most companies are having trouble with a certain generation. It's only because they need parenting, they need coaching. And so you need to be a coach. You need to be someone that's in their corner saying, okay, this is great, but let me tell you how this can be better. And you're going to bring them into that new level. And if you're going to create a space, an environment where there's no fear of failure, where you want to really disrupt the market, that's where you're going to have to do. You have to start as being a coach. You have to be a coach to yourself and be a coach to those that are with you. And they're going to run and they're going to go as hard and as fast as you want to go because they're going to believe in you because you believe in them. And that's going to be important. That's going to be really important. So we're going to overcome the fear of failure. It's one of the biggest disruptions. Disrupt it in you and you'll disrupt it in the marketplace and you'll disrupt it in your organization. Your organization will create revolutionary products, revolutionary things because people are willing to make mistakes and try something. Try something. In the future, here, probably in the next 6 months, I'm going to be releasing a book called The Experimentalist. I called it The Alchemist, but I can't have that name because it's a very famous book, The Alchemist, so I'm calling it The Experimentalist, but it's about the alchemy, the obsession that an alchemist has in experimenting for success. And I want to encourage you. It's important for all of us to experiment for success, to try it, to give an environment to try it. A woman came to me and I was speaking at a conference last year, and she said, I really want to do this. I really want to do this seminar, this event. I'm so afraid. I said, this is my assignment. And if you bump into me, I'll probably give you an assignment. Wherever I am, I give assignments. I like to give assignments out because I think people are just looking for the next step. They're only stuck on the next step. And then they'll get stuck on the next one after, but they're stuck on the next step, right? And so we just keep moving forward. And I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go home and I want you to call all your family, friends, neighbors, everyone you can get to the event, open it up. Literally do it. Do it as if it's the planned event. Plan it out with exceptional detail. But call it practice the whole time. Just make it practice. Just practice. Just say it's practice. And so what she did is she went and she did a practice event. And it turned out better than she ever could imagine. It was like extremely just better than what she could imagine. I saw her a while later at another event, and she says, I did it, and I'm now going to do my third event. I've done 2. I'm now going to do my third one, and I called the first ones practice, and they were exactly what I wanted. The only reason we're afraid to fail is because we don't call it practice. Even if you're doing it in front of everybody, call it practice. We know that practice makes perfect practice. That makes perfect events. So you want to practice, then you want to have perfect practice, and then you're going to have the professionalism that's necessary. But if you don't know what perfect practice is, then just practice. Try it. Call it practice. If you're going to do videos, practice. If you're going to do something, practice. That's the only way you can make it happen for yourself. If you're an organization, if you're running a company, and you have a group of people that are with you, be a coach, create an environment where you say, come on in, we're going to try some things. This is going to be an environment where we welcome failure, we celebrate failure. We don't call this the end. One of the things I was really thinking about this morning is that the reason we think it's failure is because we have a finish line. But if you have failed in something, just move the finish line. Just move the finish line a little bit further on. This is not the finish line. This was practice. I know it looked like I was really trying to do it, but I was simply just practicing. The real event's going to be next spring. Next spring. This was a practice event, right? So I want to encourage you with that. Enjoy yourself, enjoy life, and get ready for big things to happen in your life if you are not afraid to fail. And you can push through the fear of failure by simply saying, I am practicing, and number 2, I have an environment of coaching. And if you do that, we'll see revolutionary things happen in our marketplace. And let's not be critical, mean people. You know, I didn't say mean people. I said meme people. Some of the memes can be devastating to people who are trying their best. And I want to create an environment in this world we all keep pushing forward and becoming better in everything that we do. Hopefully you enjoyed this Barry Buster moment. We'll see you next Tuesday.